All right. Hey, what is that sound in the background, bro?
A bunch of hens cackling in the other room.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We the brothers out of Great Millstone, Valdosta, Georgia. Back at you again with another lesson. The Lord willing, this lesson be edifying to the hopeful elect. Um, First and foremost, we want to start by giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikakadash.
double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that are pushing His word in truth and in sincerity of heart. Shalom.
Shalom.
Um, I'm the brother Batak, and this I have the brother Taza Yor, a moth with me, doing another weekly sit down lesson. The title of this one is Historical Wickedness, Mary Turner Lynching. You know, I've been doing a lot of topics lately, as of lately, bringing up historical wickedness that has been going on in America upon our people, the Israelites. Um, and this is something that happened around where I grew up in South Georgia. Um, and this is something that I learned about when I came into the truth because, you know, when I was in the world, I knew nothing about this situation. But it happened in my area um, in the 1900s, as you can see, 1918, which uh, around that time, 1918, I'm pretty sure my great grandfather was in the midst of this situation because it happened in my area, and I know my great grandfather was living in this area in South Georgia around that time. So he probably knew about this event, this situation that happened. Um, there was a census done in 1905, and he was living in the area around that time. So I know for a fact that he probably knew about this situation. So as you see, Mary Turner was a woman that was lynched. She was pregnant. This is Mary Turner, pregnant, lynched in Georgia for publicly criticizing husband's lynching. You know, because her husband was ultimately lynched or murdered by a white mob of men. You know, she spoke out against it, and because she spoke out against it, she suffered the same fate. It says her talk enraged him. Mary Turner taken to Folsom's Bridge and hanged. So we're going to read a little bit of this situation. We got some precepts, and this is just more evidence against you, Esau. You know, we're through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah, we are complaining to the Lord about your evil, about your bad deeds, your bad times that you have brought upon our people, and we have every right to be frustrated with you, to hate you, because all of this is justified. You did this. You can't just wipe all of this blood off your fucking hands and act like nothing happened. Nah, the Most High, the scripture says, the Most High required that which is past. So the Lord don't forget all of this evil, all of these murders, all of the robbery that you did in your past cannot just be fucking erased because the Most High remembers everything. And the scriptures tell you that the Most High's his eyes are 10 times brighter, 10,000 times brighter than the sun. And beholding the evil and the good. Roughly paraphrasing. Let me get that real quick. I think that's another scripture I'm quoting. Well, actually, this is another precept. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 3. The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. So the Most High seen all of the evil that you've done in the earth. Some of the things are recorded, some of the things are not.
Right. I was just thinking about that. You know, it. there was some atrocities done that people was even afraid to speak about because they knew that could be detrimental to them just speaking about it. So there's countless of incidents that is undocumented, but people still know about it. But hey, they was afraid to speak about it.
Right. So the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. And the who the eyes of the Lord, the angels, man. The
That's
angels are
right.
constantly the angels are constantly reporting things back to the Most High, man. The Lord sees everything that has been done in the earth, and He knows about all of this evil that you try to hide, that you try to erase out of the history books, man. You know. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this, all of the information that is edifying, and skip over, pick out, grab the meat, spit out the bones. Well, let me get the precept. The eyes of the Lord in every place, beholding the good and the evil. Let me see. Get another precept. 10,000. The eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 23, verse 19. It says, "Such a man only feared the eyes of men." See, Esau, Edom, he feared the eyes of men. He don't want his deeds to be um, brung to the light. He wants to cover everything up because he fears the eyes of men. He don't want people to know about his deeds. But you don't need to be worried about men. You need to be worried about the Most High. It says, "And knoweth not that the eyes of Yahweh, the eyes of the Lord, are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts." See, the scripture says there's nothing secret that shall not be brought to the light. There's not anything secret that shall not be brought to the light. Let me see.
Shalom, I'm finna go and walk out in the yard because it getting worse instead of getting better.
All right. Ah, come on. I cannot find this precept. Yahweh Shai said it. There's not anything hidden that shall not be known, or something like that, or secret that shall not be known. Here it is, the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. It says, "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad." So this is another example of something that was ultimately tried to be hidden from Esau. I mean, tried to be hidden by Esau, so the world wouldn't know about these different examples of wickedness that they've clearly shown towards our people. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this. It says, "On this day, May 19th, 1918, May 19th, 1918, a white mob from Brooks County, Georgia, lynched Mary Turner, a black woman who was 8 months pregnant, at Fort
Mm-hmm.
Bridge, 16 miles north of Valdosta, for speaking publicly against the lynching of her husband the day before. The mob bound her feet, hanged her from a tree with her head facing down, threw gasoline on her, and burned the clothes off her body. Mrs. Turner was still alive when the mob took a large butcher's knife through her abdomen, cutting the unborn baby from her body. When the baby fell from Mary Turner, a member of the mob crushed the baby's head with his foot. The mob then riddled Mrs. Turner's body with hundreds of bullets, killing her. Mary Turner's husband, Haynes Turner, had been lynched the day before. Haynes Turner was accused of being an accomplice to the killing of a notorious white farmer, Hampton Smith, who was well known for his abuse of black farm workers. Mrs. Turner would bail black people accused of petty crimes out of jail and then require them to work off the fine at its form. Sidney Johnson, a black male working to pay a legal fee for rolling dice, confessed to killing Mr. Smith during a quarrel about being overworked. Police officers killed Mr. Johnson in a shootout. When news reached the white community, Mary Turner and other black farm workers who had previously been accused by Mr. Smith were targeted and accused of conspiracy, which the word conspiracy means a plot, a plot to commit some form of or evil, which it resulted in his death, accused of it being a conspiracy. Ain't no proof of it. It says many black people during this time were lynched based on mere accusations of murder instead against white people. Accusations. So they was accused. The scriptures called him what? The accuser of our brethren.
God.
The accuser of our brethren is cast down. Who's the accuser? Esau's the accuser. That's why we call him the devil. Let's look up the word devil. For those people out there that don't understand why we call him the devil, let's look up that word devil. So it says a subservient evil spirit affecting humans. Nope, nope, nope. That's not what I'm looking for. Where here it is. The late Latin word is from ecclesiastical Greek diablos, which in Jewish and Christian use was the devil Satan, and which in general use meant accuser, slanderer. See, accuser, slanderer. It says in it. It is an agent noun from Greek diab- di- diabolin to slander, attack. See? But accuser, slanderer. See?
Mm-hmm.
So this is an example. This is why we call him the devil. He's an accuser. All back then, bro, you didn't really need much. All you needed is someone to accuse you. Accusation. It's my word against their word, and guess whose word is gonna fucking win? Guess whose word is gonna win 10 times out of 10? Their word against ours.
That's right.
And more,
And
and more word.
this was in 1918, 2026. Ain't nothing changed.
That's right. That was
The
like
devil is still the devil.
how many? 1918. So 100 years from 1918 would be 2018. Plus another eight. So 108 years, if my math is correct. So the word accused means charged with an offense, fault, or error. To accuse, to indict, reproach, blame. See, blame someone, announce, report, disclose. To make a complaint against, to blame, bring to trial, prosecute. So, and back then in that time, bro, that's all. That's all these devils needed. All they need was a fucking accusation. And what do? They take matters into their own hand and become what, vigilantes. You know, uh, so-called executing judgment on their own, not waiting for justice, because true justice was left to the hands of the people. The police wasn't going to do shit about it. You think anybody got arrested? The answer is no. None of these crimes ever was accounted for.
No.
So who's gonna pay for this, man? Who's gonna pay for this? You want to look up the word crime? It means sinfulness, which is what, breaking the laws. It says an infraction of the laws of the Most High, which is what, the laws of the Bible. So if you commit a crime, that means you committing a sin. So I'm gonna read some more. It says the same was true here, as at least seven confirmed black individuals were lynched by the white mob in response to Hampton Smith's death, inflicting community-wide racial terror violence. See, our enemies, man.
Huh.
It says that makes me think about the curse of Cain. Whoever killeth them shall receive sevenfold, vengeance sevenfold. That's what makes me think about what these devils be doing every time an Edomite, um, Edomites gets killed. They go on a rampage, and it says seven confirmed black individuals lynched by the white mob in response to his death. So that makes me think about it even more.
That's right. And
Um,
these people probably didn't have anything to do with anything, man.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Everybody got to pay. Mrs. Turner was grieving and spoke out against her husband's death, promising to take legal action. Enraged by this, the white mom made an example out of Mrs. Turner, despite having no reason to fear actual legal repercussions from her promise, as black people at the time were not afforded judicial process. What is that?
So basically, she wasn't even no threat. Not a threat at all.
Nope, not even a little bit. But you know how Esau is. He want to make an example out of you. So our people had no justice, none whatsoever.
And he don't want no accountability.
Yeah. So we didn't. There was no possibility that we would get any type of justice for all the crimes that was done against us, man. You know, this is why we cry to Yahweh Bashim Shah, because we know He is the true judge, and we know vengeance belongeth unto Him. Quick precepts. Psalms chapter 94, verse 1. It says, O Yahweh, power, to whom belongeth vengeance, to whom vengeance belongeth, O power, to whom vengeance belongeth, shew thyself. A couple more precepts. Hebrews 10 and 13, 10 and 30. For we know him that had said, vengeance belongeth unto me, I will recompense, said the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. So the Most High Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is the one that gets vengeance. And he's going to vindicate. He's going to vindicate us, man. When the Most High finally overthrows America with fire, that's going to be that vindication. That's going to be the Most High getting that vengeance. It says the white mob lynched Mary Turner and her unborn child to maintain white supremacy, silenced her, and communicate to the black community that no dissent from the racial order would be tolerated. No member of the mob was ever held accountable for the lynching of Mary Turner and her unborn baby. What a surprise there, you know? It says the grotesque, the grotesque. I'm gonna sound it out the best way I can. The grotesque
Right?
slaughter of a black woman 8 months pregnant reveals a great deal about the way in which black women were dehumanized with impurity. EJI has documented 599 racial terror lynchings between 1877 and 1950 in the state of Georgia. Brooks County had the third highest number of documented racial terror lynchings. And here's a map. Isn't this something? Georgia, 599 reported lynchings. Wow. Brooks County had 20. Thomas County had 8. Damn, Decatur had 10. 10. 10. 38 in Fulton County. So as you can see, man, Early County had 24. Let me see, Savannah. Chatton County only had 2 over there. So as you can see, this is a map, lynching in America. in Georgia, particularly in the South, had a record high number of lynchings, and there was a lot in Fulton County as well. The Fulton County is Atlanta area. Lowndes County is Valdosta. Brooks County is a part of the metro. Well, this is where Mary Turner was lynched at, down here in Brooks County, Valdosta area. So this is a map, man. You see it. This
You
is
know,
the
and as you brought out earlier, these are just the ones that documented.
yeah
So
report.
you know the numbers way higher than that.
Yeah, these are the ones that just reported. Yep, that's right.
Right.
So you got that precepts in numbers whenever you got it, bro.
Okay. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, starting at verse 16. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer.
If this book and this chapter in the book of Numbers was um, specifically focused on incidents that would occur, like murder or or in killings as well. These are the laws that the Most High spoke to Moses to tell the children of Israel. Um, if these situations ever happened, what you should do or how you should judge these different situations. So go ahead, read that again.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, verse 16. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer.
So if you
The
smite some,
murderer shall surely be put to death.
hold on. So if you take an instrument of iron and you smite someone, that means you hit them so hard with the intent of killing them, then you are a murderer. And
Uh,
the law says that if you murder someone in that fashion, because what murder is premeditated, that's the difference between killing someone and murdering someone. Murder is premeditated. You see, that means you have to actually logically in your mind, you came up with a specific idea or a specific plan or conspiracy to do that to that person, to kill him. All right, let me see what AI says. This is all murder is a form of killing, but not all killing is murder. Killing is a broad term for causing a life to end, which can be legal, accidental, or justified. Murder is a specific legal crime, meaning the unlawful, intentional killing of a human with evil intent or malice afterthought. See? So even Google would tell you there's a difference between murder and killing. And what we're focusing on in this situation is murder. You see? There's even different Hebrew words for the word murder and killing. But
right.
go ahead, bro. You got it.
You know, in these cases, was there was nobody life was in jeopardy, but the person whose life was taken, that was the only one that was in jeopardy.
See, look, if you look at the Hebrew, this is why it's important to look at the Hebrew. If you can see my screen, this is the concordance results shown using the KJV. Exodus 20 and 13 says what? Thou shalt not. It says kill, but the Hebrew word there should be what? Murder. Thou shalt not murder.
Mm-hmm.
H 75:23. It's murder and not kill. See? Thou shalt not murder. So it should not be thou shalt not kill. It should be thou shalt not murder. And as you can see, when you go look it up, it says to murder, slay, kill, to murder. slay, premeditated. See?
Right.
Premeditated. So that's the difference between murder and killing. If I find the other Hebrew word for murder, I mean for killing, I'll bring it out. But you got it, bro.
Numbers chapter 35, verse 17. And if he smite him with throwing a stone,
Hmm.
wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer.
See? So now if you throw a stone at someone with the intent of murdering them, you're a murderer. you know, it's the same. So it covered an instrument of iron. Now I just covered throwing a stone. Go ahead.
Verse 18. What's up, King? Or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood,
Hmm.
wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer.
Right. So all of these things are examples of murder in the Bible. And was any of these things done? Yeah. Oh, actually, it shows you a more broader. This is a more broader map of lynchings, racial terror lynchings. Racial terror lynchings were not limited to the South, but the southern states had the most in the nation, over 4,000 between 1877 and 1950. Mississippi has 636, 656. Louisiana 559. Texas 300.
Damn.
Look at this map, man. Look at all these murders.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
And
all this.
once again, them just the one documented.
Look at all this blood, man. Look at all this blood. Putting things in perspective, man. You got it, bro. Go back. You jump down to verse 29. Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, going to verse 29. So these things shall be a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
Go ahead.
Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die.
All right. This is the other Hebrew word. This is not the same word as murder. The Hebrew word is a nakah. Nakah, which means what? To strike, smite, hit, beat, slay, kill, to be stricken, to be smitten, to be stricken or smitten. So this shows you that there's a difference between the different Hebrew words. One is for murder, one is for killing. I believe that's the other one, if I'm not mistaken. So this is actually referring to killings. Um, and it's all different case by case. You have to break it down case by case according to the law. But read that again.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, starting again at verse 29. So these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoso killeth any person, the murder shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die.
Yeah, the scripture says by two or three witnesses let every word be established. You know, got it.
Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death,
Hmm.
but he shall surely be put to death.
So you would look at the word satisfaction. It means bribery, if I'm not mistaken. The NLT says also you must never accept a ransom payment for the life of someone judged guilty of murder and subject to executions. Murderers must always be put to death. So it ain't no oh get out of jail or I can pay off the judge or none of that bullshit that's supposed to go on. But Esau does that shit. Look what happened to Emmett Till. The people that was accused of killing him, murdering him, they got off. scot free. The Hebrew word is kapar, which means a price of a life, ransom, bribe. See, you can't bribe the judge. You can't bribe anyone. You can't. Once you commit the act of murder, you can't. It ain't no getting out of that. It ain't no paying no one off. It ain't nobody paying no fees. Nothing, man. So all of these jakes that have murdered people, you know what's supposed to be done to them? They supposed to be killed. All of them supposed to be dead. Edomites as well as jakes. But ultimately, street justice catch up to some of them because the murder
Right.
was supposed to be killed. It's only right. It's only fair, and it's true justice. You want justice? That's how it's supposed to be done. The Most High had these laws in place for a reason. You murder someone, you supposed to be murdered. Ain't no putting him in jail for the rest of his life. The only reason why Esau put people in jail is so they can make money off of them. That's the only reason.
That's right. What sense do it make to put a man in jail for 40, 50 years that done committed a murder? He's
Right.
supposed to be put to death.
Yeah.
So it's all about the money. Like you say, it's all about the money. They get so
All
much
about the
money
punishment.
for, yeah, for housing prisoners. They get so much money.
Yep. And they get free labor out of them as well.
That's
Because
right.
through the research, a lot of a lot of stuff are created by prisoners. The most important thing is license plates. The most well known thing is
Yeah.
license plates.
Yeah. License plates, road signs,
You name it.
man, clothing.
Mm. Let's look at this. I didn't know. I ain't know about this. Let's check this out. And this is let me read the copyright disclaimer.
Hmm.
Let me read a copyright disclaimer real quick. All right, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, teaching, education, and research. Fair uses of use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So I wanted to read that real quick. I didn't know anything about this video, so we're gonna play this video.
Was tortured for over an hour and then burned alive before
Let's go back.
17-year-old Henry Smith was tortured for over an hour and then burned alive before 10,000 people in Paris, Texas. They sold his body parts as souvenirs. Today, there is no marker acknowledging what happened here, only an abandoned lot where this public spectacle lynching took place.
Mm. It says when Henry Smith, a black man, an Israelite man, learned that he was a suspect of killing a white girl, he fled his home of Paris, Texas, likely fearful of being lynched. Soon after, a posse seized Mrs. Smith and, without a full investigation or trial, named him the murderer of the girl. The police did not intervene at any time. On February 1st, 1893, a mob of 10,000 gathered, stripping Mr. Smith naked and beating him. He was placed on a carnival float and paraded through town to the fairgrounds. There, he was tortured before a cheering crowd, including children, and burned alive. Afterward, the crowd clamored for souvenirs of the lynching. Ashes and pieces of bone. Mrs. Smith's death was one of the many public spectacle lynchings in which crowds of white people, often numbering in the thousands, gathered to witness heinous killings that featured prolonged suffering of the victim. Many were carnival like events with vendors selling food and photographers printing postcards. Mm. And this is the history that Esau is hiding. He's ashamed of this, but we're proclaiming it. We're letting the world know about your fucking wickedness, man. And this is why America's on its way down now. So let's see what this one says.
The People's Grocery in Memphis, Tennessee was a thriving black-owned business until owners Calvin McDowell, William Stewart, and Thomas Moss were lynched by a group of white men. Right before he was killed, Mr. Moss spoke his last words: "Tell my people to go west. There is no justice for them here."
In the late 1800s, three black men, Calvin McDowell, William Stewart, and Thomas Moss, opened a store, People's Grocery in Memphis, Tennessee. The success of the black owned business posed an economic threat to the status quo, resulting in a violent confrontation between the owners and a group of white men. The white men, who were law enforcement officers, responded by jailing over 100 black men, including the store owners. On March 9th, 1892, 75 masked men seized Mr. Moss, Mr. McDowell, and Mr. Stewart from jail. They placed ropes around their necks, murdering them in the open field, asked for his last words asked for his last word, and Mr. Ross responded, "Tell my people to go west. There is no justice for them here." Despite severe eyewitnesses and a grand jury investigation, no one was ever held responsible. In the days following the incident, the African American community continued to be terrorized by white citizens, causing over 6,000 black people to flee Memphis in just 3 months. And we're not black people, we're Israelites. But I just read it for the sake of reading. So let's look at this one.
In 1933, in Birmingham, Alabama, schoolteacher Elizabeth Lawrence was lynched by a white mob. She was not accused of any crime, but had merely scolded white children who were throwing rocks at her. When her son sought justice for his mother's lynching, the same mob pursued him, forcing him to flee to Boston.
Elizabeth Terrence. During this era, African Americans, where that's not our nationality, we are Israelites, could be lynched for any perceived social transgression, including speaking disrespectfully to a white person, refusing to step off the sidewalk, or using profanity. On July 5th, 1933, Elizabeth Lawrence was walking home in Jefferson County of Alabama when a group of white school children threw rocks at her. Mrs. Lawrence verbally reprimanded the children and continued walking. Later that evening, an angry mob went to Mrs. Lawrence's home, seized her, and burned her house to the ground. She was lynched that night for her perceived social transgression. Her son, Alexander, sought the arrest of her mother's murderers. As a result, the mob reorganized and pursued him, causing him to flee for his life to Boston, Massachusetts. Alexander had much to fear. Jefferson County had more lynchings than any other county in Alabama.
A white mob lynched Claude Neal in front of the local courthouse and left his body hanging in order to terrorize the entire African American community in Jackson County, Florida. Today, there is no marker acknowledging the lynching that occurred here.
On October 19th, 1934, Florida farmhand Claude Neal was arrested, accused of murder of a local white woman. Lynch mobs began forming before 23-year-old Neal had even been formally charged. On October 26th, Mr. Neal was seized from the jail by 6 white men and brutally killed. How the fuck you get him out of jail? Soon after, his corpse was presented to the community. They castrated, shot, and burned his body. When the sheriff cut the body down from a tree and refused to rehang it, an angry mob rioted it, burned the homes of Mr. Neal's family, and threatening black residents until they fled. A grand jury did not indict anyone for the lynching of Mr. Neal, while lynchings are often thought to have been carried out by a handful of vigilantes. In truth, they were often events supported by community, press, and government officials. These lynchings were a tactic for maintaining racial control by victimizing or merely uh, an individual. or sorry, victimizing not merely an individual, but the entire African American community. So these devils have a history of terrorizing our fucking people. But yet,
Rufus
they want to call us T's, terrorists.
LeSueur was abducted and then held captive for hours in a shack before being lynched by a crowd of unmasked men. Officials refused to identify or prosecute anyone for this racial terror. The shack where the tragedy took place still stands today.
You know, as I was about to say, if you ever committed a murder, if you was a white man, all you had to do is say that a black man did it.
Yeah,
If you ever killed a white woman, all you got to do is say a black man did it.
yeah,
And the first black man they see, hey, he in
yeah,
trouble.
yeah. Edomites, they're known for killing their wives.
Yeah.
They'll kill their wives and their whole family. Oh, it says Rufus Lassier. On August 14th, 1904, a posse of white men seized Rufus Lasseur, a black man, and locked him in a makeshift jail, accusing him of sexually assaulting a white woman. Of course.
Oh, here we go again.
During this era, black people were often the targets of suspicion when a crime was alleged. What? You just said it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that something?
There you go.
All you got to be is a white woman. Hey, you put it on the Negro.
Put it on the nigga. All you need is a little bit of suspicion, and there you go. You got your crime. You got your criminal. It says these
Mm-hmm.
accusations. This is why we call him the devil. These accusations were merely subject to scrutiny. On August 16th, without an investigation, trial, or conviction, a mob of men dragged Mr. Lucier outside the makeshift jail and lynched him, leaving his body riddled with bullets. He was 24 years old. Rufus Lucier was one of the 4 known lynching victims in Moreno County, Alabama. He was lynched by a mob of unmasked white men in a town with only 300 residents, but the state claimed that no one could be identified, arrested, or persecuted for this murder. Today, the makeshift jail where he was held still stands in Thomason. See? So I think those are all like the ones that have a video for him. It's only one, two, three, four, 5 of them. A lot of lynches in East Texas. A lot of them. A lot of them in East Texas. Can you get the? Oh, actually, bro, you got it. You can read that. Continue reading your preset that you got.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35. I'm going to start at verse 30. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die.
Go ahead.
Man, that's crazy. They didn't even have to have no witnesses back then. All you had to have is an accusation.
That's it. That's all you needed.
Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer which is guilty of death, but he shall surely be put to death. And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he shall come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest.
Go ahead.
So you go ahead.
Yeah.
So you shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it.
So the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So this land, look at America, man. Look at all these states that have reports of lynchings. Look at this shit. Even Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York,
Mm.
New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. Arkansas has 400. Arkansas has 400.
Whoa.
145 in one fucking county. Where is that? Phillips County. Where is that in? Where is that today? Where is Phillips County? That look like West Memphis. That's what it looks like to me. Where is Phillips?
That sound like a genocide back then,
Bro,
because you knew it wasn't that many, couldn't have been that many blacks there. So hey, over 400. Damn.
oh, it's like 200 in one county though.
Mm-hmm.
Phillips County. Okay, I see where Phillips County is at. Phillips County is like west of Little Rock. It's close to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Wow, that's that one little county over there is responsible for 245 fucking lynchings, man.
Oh, wait.
Look, Oklahoma has a history of lynchings. Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, uh, Missouri, Louisiana, of course, Texas, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, California, even North Dakota, Montana. Oh, I think I already said Montana. South Dakota, Nebraska, damn near every most majority of the Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky, damn near all of the United States have a history of lynching, man.
Yeah. You know, we was reading earlier about the Israelites told his last words to tell my people to go west.
Yeah,
Shit, that didn't matter.
yeah, it didn't. Even Oregon, wait, Washington. Wait, what state is that? Yeah, Washington, right?
Damn, that's about as far west as you can get. Damn it,
Or
man.
yeah, Oregon. Oregon has had a lynching as well. So can you get the book of Colossians chapter 3 verse 25? And our people need to know about this, man. You need to know about this. This is urgent. You need to know about all this. Look at all this blood. The land is not going to be cleansed until their blood is shed. And who's going to shed their blood? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is going to shed their blood, man. He's going to avenge us. He's the great avenger.
That last verse was going into the fact that he said he dwell amongst Israel.
Yep, he
So,
does.
in other words, you're not going to get away with it.
Hell no. The Most High seen it. And that's
That's
why
right.
there is such a great destruction for this place. You got it.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he has done, and there is no respect of persons.
So he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there's no respect of persons. So you're gonna receive your judgment for all of this evil, Esau. Can you get the book of Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 21 and 22?
This is the book of Lamentation, chapter 1, verse 22. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me, for all my transgression.
Oh wait, start at verse 21. Slakia, bro.
This is the book of Lamentation, chapter 1, verse 21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that you have done it. That will bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me.
See,
Let
I
all
say
let
they have
all
heard
the
it outside. There is none to. Go ahead, bro.
let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgression.
Hmm.
For my sights are many, and my heart is faint.
Right. So the Most High is going to bring upon our enemies the same terror that he brought upon us. We are the sons of God. We the apple of the Most High's eye. And this is what he did to us for our evil.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How much more is the Most High going to do to you for your evil? Actually, you know what? Obadiah. Obadiah, we ain't bring out Obadiah in a while. Me personally, I haven't. Because the Most High, all of your evil is going to catch up on you on one specific day. Yeah, you're going to be destroyed by nuclear fire, but there's something even greater coming for you. And that's total annihilation of your race. So the NLT says, others heard my groans, but no one turned to comfort me. When my enemies heard about my troubles, they were happy to see what you had done. Oh, bring the day you promised when they will suffer as I have suffered. Because the scriptures tell us in the book of Daniel that none of these nations have suffered like we have. None of them have suffered like we have, but they will. They will. It's the book of Daniel. Can you get Obadiah? Hold on, Obadiah 1 in verse. Hold on, 1 and start at 15. We're going to read down. It says, Daniel chapter 9, verse 12. It says, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. See, you nations have not suffered like us. You haven't been. Look at all of these lynchings, man. The scripture says what? Cursed is he who hangeth on the tree. This is an example of us being cursed, man. We are cursed by the Most High. And not only the southern kingdom was subject to this, so the northern kingdom as well. So-called Mexicans were lynched. But that history is hidden. These other tribes were lynched as well. All right, I typed in Google, were Mexicans lynched? It says, yes, thousands of people of Mexican descent were extrajudicially lynched and murdered by mob violence and law enforcement in the United States from the mid 19th century through the 1920s. So not only was the Southern Kingdom being lynched, the Northern Kingdom was being lynched. Historians estimate that hundreds to thousands of Mexican Americans and the Mexican nationals were killed, with an estimated 5,000 murders occurring in Texas alone during peak periods like 1910 and 1920s border war era. Let me see. Yes, Hispanic and Latino Americans, predominantly individuals of Mexican descent, were extensively lynched and subject to mob violence in the United States, particularly across the American West and Southwest during the 19th and 20th century. Because you got to remember, Mexico actually owned Texas, New Mexico, California, all of those lands, as well as Texas. Well, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, and I believe Nevada. Those states in the West, they was predominantly controlled by Mexico, you know. So that shows you that Mexico was ultimately in the midst, so-called Mexicans. So we have suffered great evil that the Most High brought upon us from our enemies. In that the scripture says, "Curses who hangeth on the tree." That's another example to show you that we are cursed by the Most High. You got it, bro. You got that number, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15, and we're gonna read down to verse 18, and then we're gonna close it out.
Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15. For the day of the Most High Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
So The day of for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, which is all of you other nations. As you have done, it shall be done unto thee. So what does that mean? The Most High is going to do the same thing He did to you to us. I'm sorry, to us to you. Tables are going to turn. You're going to be on the bottom. You're going to be the ones that are subject to all of this violence. Because it's ultimately going to be recompense when we do it. The Scripture says it is a righteous thing in the hands of the Most High to recompense tribulation to those that trouble us. And who is the Most High going to use to trouble you? He's going to use us to trouble you, just like you troubled us. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 16, for as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been.
You're going to be as though you have not been. You did all of this evil. The NLT says, just as you swallow up my people on my holy mountain, so you and the surrounding nations will swallow the punishment I will pour out on you. Yes, all the nations will drink and stagger and disappear from history. Only the nation of Edom is going to be disappeared for history. So you're going to drink of that cup, man. You're going to drink of that cup of slavery, persecution, all of it, the whole nine. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 17, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble.
The house of
and
Esau
they shall,
stubble. Go ahead.
and they shall kindle in them and devour them.
Go ahead.
There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken it.
That means all of you going to be completely eradicated, man. For all of your wickedness, all of your evil, all of your deeds that you've done, you're going to be completely done away with, man. That means you're going to be extinct. All the Edomites are going to be literally burned alive, lined up and burned. And none of you are going to be remaining, because the Most High has spoken this. So this is your ultimate judgment. This is the ultimate part of your judgment, when you're going to be completely done away with. No more Edomites. All of you going to be done. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying.
One closing statement, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
One closing. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
That was it.
That's to put emphasis on the fact that, hey, you're going to be cut off forever.
Forever. Ain't no getting around that. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. We're going to close out by giving our praises and glory to Yahweh.
Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Yisakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that are pushing this word in truth and sincerity of heart. I want to say Shalom.
Shalom.
Kwam Yasharallah.
Kwam Yasharallah.
Shalom.
Shalom.